Let's move on now to our next big topic on Pro Soccer Talk this week, and that's transfer news. Obviously, Darwin Nunez to Liverpool. That's been completed. Club record deal, well over $100 million all in. I mean, we've seen what he's done at Benfica, right, over the last few seasons. Sensational, especially last season in the Champions League. Nick, how does he slot in, and how will Liverpool's tactics develop or change? Because, I think, pardon the pun, but there's a theory of evolution here with Liverpool when it comes to Darwin coming in.
I think it's going to have to be. Took me a minute. Yeah, slow on the uptake. We're just getting back into the flow. I'm a little bit concerned. I think he's going to be a success over time. Don't get me wrong. I have not no question, but very little question about that. And Mane leaving is one thing, but yes, we're a year removed from Roberto Firmino being a key piece of what they do, but he was such a linker, right? He allowed Mane and Salah in a way that some center forwards don't, to really carry the attack at times and to really worry about getting their best shots off. And Nunez is different. Nunez is different. Not to say that Jurgen Klopp can't evolve him. I guess this goes a little bit to what Andy discussed about Erling Haaland maybe taking a little bit of time to adjust to Man City. I think this is that, maybe on steroids. Nunez may get his goals, and yet Liverpool may not still be as feisty, if you will, especially as we're going into the final year of Mohamed Salah, and that looks like, I think that's what's going to happen, that he's going to ride out his contract. And if that happens, this guy wants to shoot, this guy wants the ball, and I'm a little bit nervous. If you look at the underlying numbers of Darwin Nunez, Firmino is an elite enabler, and he is very unselfish for a center forward. Darwin Nunez may very well be that as well, but we don't know that yet.
Andy, what type of player Liverpool getting there? Because Nick alluded to it. He's different than the other Liverpool forwards and the other forwards they've kind of recruited, because even Luis Diaz coming in and Diogo Jota fit the Liverpool mold, right? So for Nunez coming in, I mean, where will he slot in? Do we think up top centrally for Benfica? That's where he played. But he kind of likes the ghost off to the left flank and just run the channels as well. So maybe he could fit into that more fluid Liverpool attack, right?
Yeah, I think all players these days are talented enough, obviously, and have an understanding enough to play in multiple positions, especially up top. But the phrase that I always come back to is he will be a player that they play to and not through, and in the way that they played through Firmino to get to someone else to create the chances, or for Firmino as well, with the ball coming back to him. I think, and Nick brings up a great point there about Firmino being an enabler. For all of the chances that he missed and should have put away over the years, I think those things stick in people's minds, obviously, a lot more. And so I think the image of Firmino in a lot of people's minds is not quite doesn't quite match up to what actually the importance of him on the field for that Liverpool team, and the importance that he carried in Klopp's mind as well. Because when you have Mane and Salah, who are essentially kind of secondary forwards playing out wide, you want to create as many chances as you possibly can for them, because they've got the speed, they've got the movement, they've got the intelligence to get into those spaces. And so you just want somebody get them the ball. With Mane going, with Salah getting older, and maybe it's his final season, and it's transitioning to Luis Diaz and Diogo Jota, it's going to be a lot different the way that the front three, the front four, front five, however many they end up with when the season starts, that how they operate. And so I think that's going to be really interesting. And we also have to remember, every time there is a young upcoming star, already established superstar that goes through a big transfer, these 9-figure transfer fees, it never happens immediately. We have to remember that it always takes time. And the one thing I'll disagree with what Nick said is, if he is only contributing goals, if he is only putting the ball in the back of the net, I don't think he'll play, because that's not going to fit what Klopp wants defensively and all the other aspects of the game, because it is such a fluid situation there with Liverpool. So I do think he's got it's going to be difficult for him to come into that team that's already so well established and has a way of playing. Everybody else has to change, and he has to meet them somewhere in the middle. That's just a really complicated situation for somebody who's 22 years old and only a couple of years of experience at that really, really high level.
But he was really good. I mean, Liverpool still firsthand with Benfica. Klopp, if you look back at the pressers now where he was asked to talk about Nunez, he scored in both legs against Liverpool in the Champions League knockout stage this season. He's talking about how aggressive he is, how direct he is, how he loves his power, his speed. I mean, I can see Liverpool actually changing tactically. I think he's that good for them to maybe change their tactics slightly. I mean, looking back at Klopp's former teams, he's always kind of been 4-3-3 at Liverpool, right? But at Dortmund, when he had Lewandowski, he was kind of a similar hold-up centre forward. They did play a 4-2-3-1, and I feel like Liverpool, maybe this is a way, right, to evolve from losing Mane to Bayern, potentially losing Salah as well, and say, okay, this is a perfect chance for us now to spread around and maybe develop our game in a different way. So we're not just plugging players in to try and replace Salah and Mane and the goals and assists that they had, because that's going to be very, very difficult to replace. So I don't know if it will take teams by surprise, but it certainly will be, I think, a bit different, right, Nick, tactically from Liverpool, which could help with those big name players going out the door.
It will. I kind of want to piggyback a little bit on what Andy was saying. I think he will be a big part of what they do, not box to box, but this guy has work rate. This guy will defend. He will track back. He'll be a great presser of the ball. He's going to get a couple goals next year where either the goalie is forced to make a bad decision because of the intense pressure. He's very good. And I think aerially, that's the one thing. We may see a little bit more feasting from Alexander-Arnold and Trent, or excuse me, and Andy Robertson or Kostas Tsimikas with the big crosses, because he is a force in the air. My worry when I talk about him, if he can just score some goals to get started, is because I don't know that we'll see. What's your enduring image of Roberto Firmino? This is the funny part for me. Besides some of the big late goals he scored, is Salah plays it inside and it's a no-look back heel pass back inside the 18 as an entry to Mane. Like, that's how I visualize him, and that's where I think it's going to take Nunez some time to adapt.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, usually you can tell within the first couple of games or even the first couple of training sessions how it's going to click between these players. It's strange. Some partnerships develop over time, right? Yeah. But you have to think that Liverpool have seen him up close, played against him, scouted him extensively, and can see that he's going to be able to link up with Luis Diaz, or if Salah stays around, then there's going to be a good combination there. But Andy, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on him, not just the price tag, but with Mane going out, who's been an absolute legend for Liverpool, won trophies, scored goals galore, so reliable. I mean, how much pressure is there on Nunez and Luis Diaz? Because as good as Diaz was for Liverpool when he came in January, there was a little dip at the end of the season, the FA Cup final, Champions League final, where maybe the pressure, and he's still young as well, but maybe just got a little bit too much for him. So there's a lot of pressure on those two young guys who ripped it up in Portugal, and their talent is undoubted, but moving to Liverpool to replace Salah and Mane potentially is a whole new ballgame.
Yeah, that's the difference between reaching the top and then staying at the top as a club, when you have to then, bring in the next group, build the next team. And that's going to be very interesting to see how Klopp handles that entire process, because it took 3 or 4 years. If you remember back, 2016 he was hired, or 2015, one of the two. It took 3 or 4 years to really get things right, to get the players in that he wanted, to get his ideas to start to come through the players on the field. And so it might not be right out of the gate this season, because that is a lot of change for a team that we have come to expect such an incredibly, almost impossibly high standard from Liverpool over these last few years. So I think give everybody a little bit of leeway at the start of the season this year, because of the short off season and everything. Preseasons are going to be short, transfers. I think there's going to be a lot of business done between now and the start of the season. And the final point, it's a question really to you guys. Do you think Klopp will continue to complain about how much money that Manchester City spends after doing this deal for Nunez? And I'm just thinking all the money spent on Naby Keita. I mean, there have been some big fees that Liverpool have spent over the years. And for him to take the high horse of, well, if we had endless money, we could do that too. Well, they kind of do.
Well,
it's all about net spend, right? It's net spend.
No, the net spend kings, right?
They are mid-table, and Man City are way ahead at the top. So I'm just going to chuck that out.
Well, so here's the thing: Liverpool has done an incredible job, and this is not going where any of you think it is, at inflating the fees of the guys they sell. Right? Like I saw the other day, not that Nico Williams won't be great, but it was like a £17 million number attached to him. And I was like, really? Because you're coming from Liverpool, when you're coming from a system where people trust that Jurgen Klopp has used these people. Man City last year got a boatload of money for Ferran Torres. So I do agree. I'm at the point where my hope is that maybe this is the year that Jurgen Klopp chills with the complaints, period. But he cannot do the money thing. He just can't anymore. They're in the top 10 for spending. I mean, that's a thing.
But, you know, if they move on, obviously Mane's going for a decent fee to Bayern, Minamino, maybe Oxlade-Chamberlain, maybe some other fringe players, and you bring in Nunez and maybe another player, it's still pretty good business, I think. It's a very well-run club. And now with some of the other changes from the recruitment department, be intriguing to see if they can keep that going, right? And obviously Jurgen Klopp has signed a new contract recently, so he thinks they can. Final point, Nick, before we move on.
I was just going to say, it's that it's not an issue with them spending the money. It's him complaining about it. Everybody spends, and he just acts like they don't.
That's fair enough. That's a good point. All right, so any more transfer news for Liverpool around the Premier League? We'll keep you updated on Pro Soccer Talk all summer long. And really intriguing tactically to see how Darwin Nunez, the new club record signing for Liverpool, slots in up front. He's got some big shoes to fill, especially with Sadio Mane, but I feel like it's going to be a very different Liverpool attack this season. So I'm really excited to watch that play out at Anfield.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series, and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches, and much more.